Croissant-Chan, I said, with the calm resignation of an eldritch librarian who already knows the answer but asks anyway. What exactly are you doing? She spun to face me, hair billowing like a mythic campaign poster, tied back with what looked suspiciously like a fondant laurel, apron cinched at an imperial tilt, half senatorial, half kitchen fire.
Behold, I have conquered the fountain,
she declared, pointing triumphantly at a dripping water fixture.
Its days of liquid arrogance are over.
A hush fell over the bakery line, the kind of hush reserved for cult meetings, unstable muffins, and very public divorces. Somewhere behind me, a parent explained mental health to their child. Are you waging war on water?
I am establishing dominance,
she snapped, like an imperial court taking offense at being questioned.
This library has been soft on moisture. The oceans have ruled unchecked. I intend to correct that.
With what? A butter knife and poor hydration choices?
With vision,
she declared loudly to no one.
And possibly a broiler.
She pointed at my tea.
You are drinking a traitor.
I could feel my remaining brain cells slide back into our lair and barricade the door. It's chamomile.
A coward's tea.
It helps with eldritch blood pressure.
Exactly. Complicity.
I set it down, not out of guilt. No. I just wasn't sure if I was speaking to a delusional pastry supremacist or a jam-soaked imperial ghost in mid-possession. Either way, caffeine or tea, even united, wasn't going to help me get through this. I raised an accusatory tentacle at her, gesturing vaguely toward her entire existence. You do realize you're made of water, yes? You're at least 30% hydration. That's before counting the butter. And croissants, actual croissants, require water to rise. You are, by chemical definition, a flaky aquatic ceasefire. She squared up like she was preparing to duel the concept of humidity itself.
Then I will purge the moisture from my body and ascend.
By baking yourself, I said, staring at her the way you look at a child who's packed one bag to move in with the neighbors because you asked them to do chores.
If that's what it takes.
I dragged a tentacle down my face. You are threatening to roast yourself over beverage politics.
And next time, I'll preheat.
And at this point, dear viewer, I began to suspect something was abnormal about Croissant-Chan, more than the usual jam-fueled insubordination. Her posture had shifted from chaotic baker to self-appointed stateswoman. She was quoting Latin she definitely didn't study, issuing proclamations at plumbing, and most damning of all, someone had fashioned a laurel wreath out of croissant ends and stuck it in her hair like divine approval. If I may be so bold as to ask, I started again, already regretting inserting myself more into this nonsense. Why are you dressed like a budget senator and declaring war on beverages? She raised her chin. A honey-flaked crumb slipped from her sleeve, landed directly in her eye, and stayed there.
I am no longer Croissant-Chan. I am the doctrine of dryness made flesh, and I shall dethrone the ocean with my bare hands and a moderately preheated oven.
Croissant-Chan, I said, rubbing the temples I no longer visibly have. Do you remember what I am? She stared in confusion like a young anime protagonist being told there's more to life than saving the world as a middle schooler.
Grumptavius Maximus?
Species-wise, genius. She narrowed her eyes suspiciously at me while wielding her fork like a trident or a video game controller. I couldn't really tell. I am in part, I began, which felt like an ironic introduction for someone I've lived around for a while now. An octopus.
Okay, and?
And octopuses, I declared, very slowly. Like a preschool teacher attempting to teach his student you can't allow your cat to drink soda, live in water, breathe water, commune with water. So by extension, I have ancestral ties to the very substance you're declaring war on. Croissant-Chan squinted, like I had just tried to explain taxes to a raccoon.
Sounds like internal betrayal.
I stared at her. Or what?
You're 80% traitor by volume.
That's not how biology works.
Tell it to the butter in your bloodline!
She snapped. You're made of laminated dough. You are chemically a hydration spell wrapped in butter and anxiety. She jabbed a finger toward me.
Exactly! I am what hydration wants to be when it grows up.
That is not a moral stance. That's a food blog with delusions of empire. She folded her arms.
Hydration is ruled unchallenged for too long. It's decadent. It's slippery. It ruins crust.
It's literally the foundation of crust.
It lies about its intentions.
It keeps you alive,
So did Caesar.
she said darkly.
Until he didn't.
For the love of the void, dear viewer. For the first time in eons, I felt utterly stupefied. Then I considered the historical implications of comparing water to Julius Caesar, and realized I was already losing. She pointed toward the walls of the library like it was a battlefield.
I hear injustice flowing.
That's the plumbing, I muttered in defeat, realizing her delusions were stronger than I thought.
Then let it flow to its grave.
She spun on her heel with imperial certainty, brandishing her ladle like a general's baton, and charged out of the room. Her apron flared behind her like it had tenure in statecraft. I heard the slap of her sandals echo down the corridor, followed by a rising battle cry.
Prep the helm! Atlantis will suffer for its arrogance.
She bolted, not towards the bakery, towards the Interdimensional Library's navigation room. And that's when every organ I no longer have screamed in unison. Oh no, I said, not because it would help, but because prophecy demands a soundtrack. She knows the override codes. Now then, careful viewer, if you're lost, you're in excellent company. I too would like to know how we arrived at a pastry-based declaration of war against a submerged divine monarchy. Let's rewind. Briefly, before the butter knife diplomacy began. It started earlier today, when Croissant-Chan was still wearing her apron that read Roman Empire-themed pastry demo. One of the specials was called the Caligula Crumb Supreme. That should have been the red flag. But instead of stopping her, I let it happen. Partly because I didn't want to get involved, and mostly because I thought it might make decent content for the library's YouTube channel. Surely, I thought, the algorithm would reward a flour-dusted demigod shouting at a water fixture. And normally, when Croissant-Chan gets possessed by a minor dessert ghost, a cinnamon-themed Valkyrie, or that time she absorbed the soul of a retired lunch lady during a potluck, it burns off in a few hours. She crashes, eats soup, accuses the toaster of treason, prays to herself in the mirror thinking it's Freya, and then declares the kitchen haunted. Everyone ignores it. Through chaos, natural selection, or caloric fatigue, the system resets. But this time, she wasn't burning out. She wasn't crashing. She was campaigning. At first, I assumed it was just another sugar spiral, but then I noticed the structure, the speeches, the uniforms, the fact that she was drawing territorial borders on a baking sheet, and that's when the dread started to bloom. So I traced it back, as one does when a pastry starts quoting Cicero and installing checkpoints near the espresso machine. The trail led, predictably, to the bakery nexus. She had launched something called Pan-Empire Week, unprompted, unregulated. Described in her words as a promotional experiment, a cultural tribute, and my personal favorite, a laminated dialogue with conquest. The signs were obvious. Banners everywhere, each one historically incorrect, depicting Julius Caesar holding eclairs like imperial scrolls. But then I found the centerpiece, Her masterpiece, her mistake, the Caligula Crumb Supreme. A croissant glazed in honeyed mead, filled with fig compote, topped with edible gold leaf. And this was the red flag, infused with emperor-grade metaphysical intensity. That's when everything clicked. The fountain stabbing, the Roman monologues, the obsession with liquid arrogance. She hadn't just lost control. She had consumed something ancient, unstable, and fundamentally theatrical. She had eaten the wrong pastry, and it was wearing her like a crown. And that brings us to the present moment. I fumbled for my communicator as I turned the corner, nearly slipping on what may have once been a laminated safety diagram, now crusted with flour and jam. Madeline, I panicked, enunciating like I was filing a divine restraining order mid-sprint. Category pastry seizure. Croissant-Chan is en route to the helm. There was a brief pause on the other end. Paper rustled, and I heard the sound of a sigh prepared by centuries of disappointment. I assume she nudged aside her PTO form again. It's practically a ritual at this point.
Say no more. I'll prepare the sedation kit, the mop, and the apology template to Poseidon.
She's going to take aim at Atlantis by using the library as a nuclear warhead. There was a pause, longer this time. I could practically hear her adjusting her glasses in that deliberate, disappointed way that always precedes a perfectly reasonable breakdown.
I'm sorry.
She began.
Do you hear what you just said out loud?
Yes.
Because what I heard,
She continued very calmly.
is that Croissant-Chan, who once tried to reserve the library's conference room for a week-long coronation ceremony for a pie, is now attempting to weaponize our place of work and commit premeditated domain warfare, using the library as a missile aimed at Atlantis.
That's correct.
Right. Just checking that we've both left the realm of sanity at the same time. Also, I assume the override codes are involved?
She shouted 3 of them mid-rant.
Wonderful.
Madeline said, in a tone that meant precisely the opposite.
You do realize this is the third metaphysical incident this quarter linked to her experiments in cultural pastry fusion?
Technically, it's the second. The lunch lady's soul doesn't count if she never left the break room.
You've been making excuses for her.
She's enthusiastic.
She's a hazard with lamination access and unresolved historical role-play fantasies.
You're not wrong, I admitted, but she means well. In the same way volcanic lightning means well. She just expresses loyalty through ritualized chaos and seasonal pastry uprisings. Madeline exhaled the way only she could. Sharp, measured, and laced with millennia of withheld commentary.
You know, I love my sister,
She admitted finally.
but I just wish she'd be more pragmatic sometimes.
Fair, I said, ducking beneath a banner that read, Pan Empire Week. All empires must crumble, but not before dessert. She has vision, I added. Terrible flour-caked vision, but vision nonetheless.
Be that as it may,
Madeline replied.
we have little time to stop her before she drives the library into the ocean out of spite.
Then came the pause.
Wait,
She said.
isn't Dewey supposed to be on helm duty today?
Madeline's voice lowered in quiet realization.
Don't tell me.
Dewey is on vacation. There was no gasp, no dramatic exclamation, just a silence so taut it could have filed a complaint.
I approved that, didn't I?
She said, already knowing the answer and hating the context in which it now mattered. You did, I confirmed. You signed off 3 weeks ago. His field logs were up to date. He requested exactly 40 hours, and you added a note recommending he unplug entirely. Another pause. This one was longer, measured.
And in his absence,
She asked.
did he leave the library on autopilot?
Yes.
Did he restrict helm access?
No.
Did he change the override codes?
No.
So, you're telling me that he went on vacation, left the library in a fully accessible autopilot state and assumed no one would touch anything.
Yes.
During an unapproved pastry-themed imperial hallucination.
Yes, but to be fair, the staff utilizing the Interdimensional Library as a war machine didn't cross his mind.
Okay, but he is aware, before he left, that Croissant-Chan was on record, saying, and I quote, "All buttons are invitations."
Probably.
And he trusted us.
Yes, but it was like a crazy trust exercise. She took a slow breath, quiet even, but it sounded like she was auditing the future.
Where did he leave the codes?
On the helm console.
Were they at least hidden or secure in a locked compartment?
They were written on a sticky note on the mainframe, underlined. I could feel Madeline calculating different solutions in her head, weighing the pros and cons with that terrifying serenity only she could manage. I braced for a directive, maybe a quiet rebuke. What I got instead hit me like a thrown clipboard.
I'm getting the tranquilizer,
she said. There was something almost hopeful in her voice. The small one, I asked.
No, the one they use for elephants.
I stared at my phone, incredulous. She's 5 feet tall, not a kaiju.
She's an eldritch frosted chaos gremlin with a surplus of destructive energy.
Madeline, why does this sound and feel rehearsed?
Oh, because it is, but not formally.
She said, rummaging through something.
But I've had plans for this occasion. Contingencies, diagrams, daydreams, but mostly diagrams.
You fantasized about tranquilizing your own sister.
She once tried to crown herself Empress of the Vending Machines, Master Cthulhu. I had to stop her with a napkin and an allergy chart.
So, you've been waiting for a reason.
I have dreamed of sanctioned sedation. You don't understand what it's like living one hallway away from croissant-based monarchy.
There was a long clack. Safety off.
I'm taking the dart. If I hit her in the shoulder, she goes down in under 10 seconds. If I miss, you'll need to reroute helm control before she declares war on marine biology.
And if she resists?
Go full eldritch and grow wings? I don't know.
And you're not worried about head trauma?
She's 90% sugar and bravado. If I hit a nerve, she'll just monologue. You're familiar with monologues, right? They're mostly safe.
I heard the shift in her stride, a calm, purposeful run. Like someone chasing a pastry insurgent with paperwork and a grudge. The Interdimensional Library was falling, not drifting, not descending, falling, through atmosphere, through logic, through every established protocol for how a building ought to behave while re-entering the physical laws of Earth. Cloud layers peeled away around the hull like torn gauze. Alarms screamed in ancient dialects. Gravity forgot its job, and the ship shuddered like something trying to remember what it used to be before inertia became a threat. Inside the helm, Croissant-Chan stood balanced on the command chair with both arms raised, hair tentacles sparking and flailing like the arms of a sugar-drenched war idol. Her apron flapped behind her like a shredded imperial banner. Frosting glistened across the control panel.
We descend as vengeance!
She howled, yanking one of the larger levers backward with both hands.
Let the oceans taste regret!
Croissant-Chan stood atop the helm like a pastry-wrapped general, arms wide, tentacle hair sparking against the ceiling conduits.
You are not qualified to speak for oceans.
Madeline shrieked, sprinting toward her.
You can't even swim.
Croissant-Chan spun, just in time to catch a slap to the face from one of Madeline's hair tentacles. The impact echoed like divine punctuation.
I knew it!
Croissant-Chan gasped.
You've always been jealous of the braid!
Jealous. I braid my hair so I don't throttle you in my sleep.
They collided. Croissant-Chan elbowed her in the ribs. Madeline grabbed the frosting slick tentacle and yanked her down, snarling.
Give me the override. Let go. Let go of the helm.
You let go of my face!
I will rip that frosting crown off your head and mail it to Poseidon as an apology letter.
Violence is the last refuge of failed pastry critics!
We are falling out of the sky.
Only because you never believed in my vision!
Madeline shoved her, breath ragged, eyes wild.
Your vision is a flying bakery crashing into the eastern seaboard.
Poetic, isn't it?
I will tie all your tentacles in knots and throw you into Chesterford as a snack if you touch that lever again.
Madeline was already moving. She crossed the room like someone who had stopped believing in dialogue. She tackled her sister against the helm console, elbow driving into shoulder, hair snapping outward like whips from a wrathful goddess.
You don't get to crash the library into the Atlantic because your pastry special didn't sell.
She shouted, wrestling her away from the override keys.
It was a vision!
Croissant-Chan screamed, kicking wildly.
You never supported Pan Empire Week! You never supported my baking skills! You're a horrible sister! You never spend any time with me! I have to do crazy shit just to get your attention!
Madeline's breath caught, but only for a heartbeat.
Croissant-Chan. We're plummeting through 3 atmospheres. And you want to talk about quality time? You think I don't care? I do. You ridiculous sugar-drenched maniac. But right now, you're going to get us all killed.
Croissant-Chan and the spirit of Caligula hesitated.
I'm still not leaving the helm!
Then Madeline, steeling herself, stepped back to take aim.
Fine. Have it your way. When did you ever listen to me? I didn't want to do this.
She reached into her coat. The tranquilizer rifle came out like a ritual long rehearsed. Croissant-Chan froze.
You wouldn't!
I've been carrying this for since your onboarding.
That's excessive!
Madeline took aim.
So are you.
She fired. Croissant-Chan dodged, surprisingly fast for someone made of sugar and spite. The dart whistled past her ear and struck me in the chest. I had just stepped through the door. I had opened my mouth to say something, perhaps about the trajectory of atmospheric descent or the misuse of ancient override glyphs. Instead, I blinked once, a feeling like warm fog crawled up through my spine. I frowned. Wait. Then I collapsed, tentacles first, into a dream older than bone. Madeline stared at the rifle. Croissant-Chan blinked slowly.
Maddie, you actually shot Master Cthulhu!
I noticed.
You actually...
This is Senior Field Agent Dewey.
The intercom suddenly awakened, and a voice boomed from several areas of the control room like a leviathan's voice, flat and unamused.
Why is the library descending at terminal velocity over Earth's eastern seaboard?
There was a pause. Croissant-Chan sheepishly greeted Dewey.
Don't answer that.
Dewey added.
I can see it on the cameras.
A faint hum overtook the room. External stabilizers began to realign. Somewhere deep in the ship's architecture, the backup helm went live. Trajectory corrected. Systems rebooted. Another silence. Dewey's voice returned.
I take one vacation, and you crash it into an ocean and sedate the head librarian.
It was an accident.
Madeline said, brushing frosting off her coat.
Your definition of accident is undergoing revision.
Dewey replied.
I'm remote lock and helm access. No one touches anything for 72 hours.
Madeline exhaled.
I'm rerouting landing protocols. Brace for splashdown. Also, that's a clean shot, Madeline.
Madeline snorted. Croissant-Chan beamed.
Told you it was a good hit!
I was aiming for you, Goofy.
and it only counts as one.
I, Cthulhu, sleeper of Relia, am betrayed. I lie face down in a pool of emergency frosting, wings crumpled like bad origami, throat full of burbling and gurgling, and thorax full of tranquilizer. This is not how gods sleep. This is how pastries die. I can still hear them, those two chaotic sugar gremlins, talking over my still warm body like I'm a casualty of a bake sale gone wrong.
I can't believe you shot Master Cthulhu.
Croissant-Chan said. I heard the guilt in her voice. Good.
I was aiming at you once again.
Madeline replied, without remorse, like a true HR executive finally snapping mid-quarter. There was a pause. I assumed it was respect for the fallen. It was not.
You may have missed, but you still kinda hurt my feelings.
Croissant-Chan added, you laminated a war manifesto to the microwave. I thought bitterly through sleep. You deserve a little hurt. Then Madeline spoke again, and despite the frosting in my ear canal, I heard something I wasn't expecting. Regret. Real human, deeply inconvenient regret.
I'm not trying to ignore you.
She said.
I never was. I spend so much time keeping this place from falling apart. I forget that the people I'm protecting might need more than stability.
Oh no, I murmured in my sleep. Feelings. They're having feelings. Croissant-Chan sniffled.
So, you do think I'm a good baker?
Please say no, I prayed to myself. Say no, and let me perish. Madeline hesitated.
You started a pan empire in your bakery.
I scared off all my customers. I think Zeus might have been one of them.
They laughed. They laughed while I bled syrup. I attempted a groan, but it came out as a dignified gurgle. Something shifted in the sugar reserve. My wing twitched. My dignity did not.
Should we roll him over?
Croissant-Chan asked.
He's more likely to drown us than himself. Let him dream.
Let me dream, I thought. Already half submerged in a frosting tomb. Let me drift through the void of unconsciousness, betrayed by pastries and project managers alike. But then...
Maybe we could hang out later.
Croissant-Chan said, voice small.
Like sisters, not enemies.
Madeline's answer was quiet.
I'd like that.
And despite myself, despite the betrayal and the syrup and the dart lodged in my sternum like a treasonous toothpick, I grinned in my sleep. Let it be known, I will awaken. And when I do, I shall demand an apology, a croissant, and possibly back pay for this indignity. But for now, let them be sisters. Let them live. I'll drool into the sugar just a while longer.